Okay, now when I sold my race car and I got out of racing, and I didn't race no more after that. This is what I sold my race car to get. It was a 2002 Harley Davidson Sportster 1200 5-speed transmission. It's the XL model, so it's got the 21-inch front wheel. All this was stock brakes. And if you noticed on these particular models, they had spoke wheel up front of the early 2000s and a solid wheel in the rear with drag bars. So it looked like the movie that this really kind of appealed to when I looked at it was a movie called Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man that had Don Johnson and Mickey Rourke riding some Harleys in the mid-90s. Like 1996 or somewhere around that time. There it is. I cleaned it up and it was glistening in the sun. All the chrome. And too, this was a carbureted bike and not fuel injected. And there's a let me get it like this. Of course, these pictures are old and they're not 1080p or high definition or anything like that, because this was 2012 to 24. No, I think it was 2010, because I got a Thunder Beach. I had a Thunder Beach bike rally shirt that I went to the bike rally down in Panama City Beach. I did have, I grew out of it. I couldn't wear it no more and it got old. But it was a 2010 bike rally shirt. I think some of my cousins actually got me in a picture wearing it somewhere. So it was 2010 to 2013 when I owned that bike. And I ran AMS oil. That's some good oil to run. Motor oil, transmission fluid for motorcycles. They make them for cars too, and boats, all products for everything. But that's some good lubricant oil. And it's made in America. American made oil. That was a good looking bike, man. Metallic paint, drag bars. As you can see, this is about the way I had it when I bought the bike, except it did have some saddlebags back here, and it had a sissy bar up here, because this is a two-seater. There's the passenger peg forward controls, so your legs are kind of stretched a little bit. Not too much, but just enough to be comfortable. And it didn't have the 8 hangers. I kind of wanted to put those on there. But like I said at the beginning here a while ago, Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, and Jesse James back in the day of 2003 or so, he had a bike that he built for when he had West Coast choppers in Long Beach, California. He built a bike. You can look this up on YouTube. West Coast choppers, CFL or Diablo frame. And you'll see the inspiration for when Harley Davidson was doing these different style of bikes in the early 2000s was what was going on in the motorcycle world at the time, like the custom bikes, the choppers. They mimic the chopper lifestyle. Chrome, drag bars, big 21-inch spoke, old school style rims, lots of chrome valve rocker covers. I mean, other than I had a little bit of rust on that bolt, as you can see it in the video right there. And I did run some Screaming Eagle spark plugs in it. And I pulled my stock ones out. And I still have those in my toolbox today. Harley Davidson Sportster spark plugs somewhere. Made, you know, at CVS Pharmacy, they have a photo thing. I just happened to do this. This is at my uncle's house. Yeah, I did wear a series of these half-cut helmets, chrome dome, chrome to match the bike, drag pipes. There's no covers on these things for the heat, so my leg, on my right leg, I would get a lot of heat on my right leg. Chrome turning blue right there. That bike would scoot. I think that was the fastest bike. I only had 2 bikes in my career, in my lifetime, so this one was the fastest or the quickest, but didn't have too much top speed. This is when I took a trip up to Kansas to see my cousins and stuff and my family up there, and they had there was this Orange County choppers. This was the Tuttles, which was on Discovery Channel chopper, American chopper, and they had a barbecue thing up there, which was closed at the time, but they had some choppers out here. That was pretty cool. And this was down there at Thunder Beach back when I would go down to Thunder Beach. Of course, you see 21-inch front wheel. This is what I was talking about with the choppers and all of what Harley Davidson was doing back in the early 2000s, was to mimic choppers with all the chrome, like the chrome forks and stuff. This was in Tucson, Arizona, at the Tucson Harley Davidson, and they were having a test ride thing. As I took a trip over there with my dad at the time, and they had a test ride thing going on, and that's when I got to see the Screaming Eagle 120-inch twin cam. I know nowadays we got that Milwaukee 8 and everything, but this was when all the bikes still had twin cam engines in them. This was a chopper down there at Thunder Beach. Again, I went down there every year, twice a year, from 2010 to 2013. So there's a lot of pictures. But there was so much to see. I was having a ride myself too, but here's a chopper, like a cafe racer. This was when the cafe thing started coming around. Sportster motor, that's what you recognize first. Custom built pipes, rims. This was from the booth at Performance Machine, who does your wheels. That was a pretty cool pan head right here. Of course, you see there's no rear suspension. That was a rigid frame, called a rigid. And that means it rides like a bicycle. The only suspension you really have is a Springer front end on it. There's another rigid. That was a pretty, that was a metal flake paint job, and that was a kickstart panhead right here. See it? Kickstart S&S engine. So that was a stunt man. He did stunts on a Harley, and I got my picture taken with him. I was a lot skinnier back then too. That's when I had just started gaining weight at this point. And I also worked part-time on these paint and body shops here and there. And this one actually happened to specialize in motorcycles and custom choppers and stuff. So that's something I got to do a little paint and body work on that and them flames right there. Of course, I didn't do the flames, but you see the gloss, see the reflection. This whole thing was like primer when we painted it. I mean, when you prime it first with gray primer and then wet sand it with some wet sandpaper. And I went, this was show quality. This was on a Harley Davidson street glide. Can't remember what year it was, but that was a street glide, and the whole bike was painted like this, which really looked cool. And there's me wearing a, of course, respirator stuff for the fumes. But that was a Sons of Anarchy shirt, the TV show. That's when I was really big into the TV show Sons of Anarchy. I had a lot of Sons of Anarchy shirts at the time, and that's really what got me really heavy into the Harley lifestyle. And some of these pictures are upside down. There it is again. Some of these went and took them from the same camera. Either some cameras were cheaper and some of them were better quality, but this was just in the backyard of the house. Right down in here is where my hunting blind is sitting, right there. There's my jacket, which this wasn't a Harley Davidson jacket. This was just a jacket I had at the time. And I had this patch. I went to the Harley shop and I bought a patch. I like, my favorite animal is like bald eagles. I like bald eagles. So, of course, have a bald eagle on my jacket. Later on, I did have a Harley Davidson jacket that had the pads, had my Harley jacket I had at the time after this one had like elbow pads and pads up here. It was like a race performance jacket. It was cold. Didn't have no windshield on it. That's the way I liked it. See, this is where I had the sissy bar too. I just now noticed that. Before I started stripping this thing down, I wanted it to have that naked, what you call a naked look to it. Stripped down, bare stock, bare bones bike. That was the style I was into. No sissy bar, no saddlebags, no windshield, no nothing like that. And I like the chopper style of bikes. If you're riding a long road trip, which we would do, I would get the full abuse of the wind, just like today. The bike I have now, which is sitting right here, the black bike, Street 750, and that's where I did park it too. I parked this bike exactly where the one I have now is sitting. But yeah, those were some good times on that bike. There I am riding. I had to give the camera to my stepmom. She took my dad's wife. She took that of me riding. And when I got these printed out, they flipped. The picture is flipped. It looks like I'm riding on the wrong side of the road, and I'm not. It was some kind of malfunction with the picture. Look where your exhaust should be. If you were looking at this proper, my exhaust should be right there on the right side of the bike, on my right, because it's flipped. My exhaust is in this picture, and his is going down the left side of the bike. Man, I wish they actually turned out the way they supposed to. It looks like I'm going down the wrong, like trains, planes, and automobiles. That old classic movie with John Candy. You're going the wrong way. You're gonna kill somebody. That was a funny movie. And they took doubles, I guess. I think that was the first time down there when I carried it, or first or second year, I would say, because I went twice a year for the spring rally and then the fall. I had a hat, so when I take my helmet off, I put a hat on. I had my fork bag, which I had my goggles and glasses and stuff, and other stuff I could put in there. This is the same time you saw the barbecue picture with me standing in front of the bike, with the family in the background. We went to Topeka, Kansas, and Topeka, Kansas had a Harley Davidson museum up there at the Harley Davidson shop. And I think you had to pay to go through it, but it's well worth it. You know, I took a lot of pictures of it, as much as I could. But of course, when you go through there, you get lost in the moment of looking at the bikes and just like ooh ah, and not be like, oh man, I forgot to take a picture or something, document. That was a drag bike. You see the drag tire, land speed. That was two Ironheads, Sportster engines from the 70s or 60s. Had two of them. There it is right there. Some of these pictures are pretty old. Topeka, Harley Davidson. And that's the emblem I had on my jacket. One of my jackets, as you saw just a while ago. And there's another picture of it, and that's the last one. Alright, y'all. That's it. That's the end of the series of vehicles I used to have. This is the very last one. You won't see another one after this, because you've already seen, if you've seen the from last year and everything, and you already see what I got now. I got my Silverado, and I got the black bike sitting on the porch. Yeah, that's it. This is all the vehicles and everything I did before I got, my truck now, and things are going different for me right now and stuff, and I'm having to change my lifestyle. I just found out the other day I'm type 2 diabetic, so I can't do what I used to do. But I can share my memories with you guys and the vehicles with it and the stories. Hope you all liked it. See you on the next one, hopefully.